People love to say home is where the heart is, but for me, home was where love went to die. My mom, Lorraine Carter, wasn't just controlling, she was a damn storm that never stopped. Everything had to be her way. Every breath, every bite of food, every choice I made belonged to her first. I was just borrowing them. Growing up felt like living in a glass box she built, polished and locked from the outside. She would always say the same line whenever I tried to defend myself. "You're nothing without me. Don't forget who made you." Yeah, that was her version of nurturing. I was 14 when I realized she didn't actually love me. She loved controlling me. The kitchen light flickered overhead while she threw my report card across the counter like it insulted her personally. I had straight A's except for one B+. One. In geometry. She leaned in close enough for me to smell her wine. Her voice stayed low, sharp enough to slice through bone. "You think anyone's gonna want you if you can't even get perfect grades? Don't embarrass me. Embarrass me. Never, I'm proud of you. Never good job. Just shame. Always shame." That night I stopped trying to earn her approval. I started trying to survive her. If you've never lived with a narcissistic parent, let me paint the picture. They make you feel guilty for breathing wrong. They give you affection only when they want something back. They turn your achievements into their achievements and your mistakes into proof that you're ungrateful. My mom treated me like I owed her for my existence. If I bought my own clothes, she'd say, "Using my electricity to wash that? You're welcome." If I cooked my own food, messing up my kitchen again, "You're welcome, I let you." If I got into an advanced class, I pushed you into that. Don't get cocky. Nothing belonged to me. Not my wins, not my life, not even my emotions. Especially not my emotions. Whenever I cried, she'd tilt her head and smirk like it amused her. "Go ahead, cry. I like seeing how weak you are without me." That line stayed with me, burned itself into my ribs. It happened at 17. College applications, my one shot at escaping. I'd been writing essays in secret, during lunch, in the bathroom, after midnight, with blankets shoved under my door so she couldn't see the light. I applied for scholarships she didn't know about because, God forbid, I tried to make something of myself without her permission. Then one afternoon, I came home and she was sitting on the couch holding my acceptance letter from UCLA. Opened, creased, smudged like she'd grabbed it too hard. She was smiling, that slow, poisonous smile she used right before she ruined something. "You're not going." My chest dropped. "What? That's my acceptance." She waved the letter in the air. "Living on your own? You can barely function with me helping you. You don't help me." That was the first time I'd said it, out loud, to her face. She went still like a rattlesnake right before it strikes. "You think you can survive without me?" she whispered. "I made you, I fed you, I clothed you, and this," she shook the UCLA letter, "is the thanks I get?" "It's my life," I said. She laughed. Actually laughed. "Not anymore." She tore the letter in half, then into fourths, then into tiny confetti-sized pieces that floated to the floor like the ashes of my future. "You're staying here," she said. "You don't get to leave me, ever." That moment changed me. Not the rejection, not the lost opportunity, no. It was the realization that she didn't destroy the letter to keep me close. She destroyed it because my success meant she'd lose control. And losing control terrified her more than losing me. That night, I lay awake staring at the ceiling, listening to the house breathe, the old pipes groaning, the fan humming, the air thick with all the words I wanted to scream. I made a decision I didn't tell anyone. I was leaving. Not someday, not when the time is right. I was leaving the second I had a shot. I didn't know how, I didn't know where I'd go, I didn't know what I'd eat or how I'd survive. But staying meant dying slow. So I started planning. Small things at first, packing clothes into my school backpack, hiding cash from my part-time job inside old textbooks, saving every spare dollar like my life depended on it, because it did. Researching shelters, youth programs, and cheap bus routes, making copies of my birth certificate and documents, charging my phone in school so she wouldn't track my usage at home. It wasn't running away. It was staging an escape, a quiet, carefully built, desperate escape. I left on a Tuesday. No dramatic fight, no explosion, just silence. She told me to clean the gutters when I got home from school. Like I was her personal handyman. She didn't ask how my day went. She didn't ask about the acceptance letter again. She just barked orders, like usual. While she was on the phone screaming at some relative, I walked past her, grabbed my backpack, and stepped outside. She didn't even look up. That's how I knew she didn't love me. She loved power. If she noticed me leave, she would have demanded I stay. If she noticed me walk out the door, she would have ripped the bag out of my hand and locked every exit. But she didn't. She didn't notice at all. I walked down our driveway, my hands shaking so hard I kept gripping my backpack straps tighter and tighter. With every step, the air felt a little lighter. With every step, I felt more like a real person. By the time I reached the bus station, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Hope. Not safety. Not stability. Not freedom. Not yet. But hope. People think escape means the suffering ends. No, it just changes shape. I ended up in a transitional youth shelter. Cinder block rooms, fluorescent lights, mattresses thinner than notebook paper. But it felt safer than my own house. And that broke something inside me. Realizing strangers protected me better than my own mother. I worked crappy jobs. Dishwashing, stocking, overnight cleaning, passing out flyers, fast food, tutoring kids in math. Anything. Everything. Every dollar went into 2 categories. 1, survival. 2, getting the hell out of this city. I studied online for community college courses. I took out small grants, scholarships, anything I could scrape together. I didn't climb. I clawed. My clothes were thrifted, my meals were cheap, my sleep was limited, but I kept going. Because every day I woke up and I wasn't in her house, that was victory. Fast forward 4 years. I had a degree, a stable job in tech, a small apartment, money saved, peace, friends who didn't walk on eggshells around me, a life that was mine. The first time I bought a piece of furniture with my own money, I cried. The first time I paid rent on time, I cried again. Not because it was hard, because my mother told me I'd never be able to do any of this. And here I was, doing it all without her. But narcissists? Yeah, they never stay gone. Not for long. It came at 8:13 p.m. A number I didn't recognize. One line. I need you. I froze. Only one person used the word need like a weapon. My mother. I blocked the number. Then another message came from a different number. Then another. And finally, my hands went cold. The woman who told me I'd never be enough. The woman who tore my dreams apart. The woman who let me walk out of her house without blinking. Now she needed me? For what? Why now? I didn't call her back. But that message was the start. The beginning of the moment she'd regret every scar she gave me. The revenge wasn't planned. It wasn't petty. It was justice. And it was coming whether she was ready or not. I didn't sleep the night she messaged me. I stared at my phone like it was a ghost crawling out of the past, dragging chains behind it. I need you. Those 3 words kept echoing through my mind like a bad song stuck on repeat. I wasn't stupid. Narcissists don't suddenly need you unless they ran out of supply. They don't reach out unless their world is falling apart. A part of me wondered if she was sick, broke, abandoned. Maybe all 3, but the bigger part of me didn't care. For the first time in my life, I had the power to ignore her, and damn, it felt good. But something kept scratching at me. Not guilt, not love, curiosity. She spent years tearing me down, and now she was reaching up. I tried blocking her again, turning my phone off, even throwing it under a pillow, but the messages kept coming from different numbers over the next 3 days. Some short, some weirdly emotional, others strangely polite. Please call me. It's important. I'm not well. I really need your help. She'd never used the word please with me in my entire life. Not once. That alone told me things must have hit rock bottom for her. And honestly, I wasn't sure I wanted to miss the show. So on the 4th day, after a long shift at work, I sat on my bed in my tiny apartment and stared at the ceiling. My chest was tight, my jaw clenched, but I knew I needed answers. Not for her, for myself. I dialed one of the numbers she used. She picked up on the first ring like she'd been sitting there, phone in hand, waiting. Hello? Her voice was smaller, weaker, almost shaking. It didn't sound like her, not even a little. What do you want? I asked. No hello, no softening, just the truth. There was a heavy pause. I could hear her breathing like she was trying not to cry. It's your mother, she said, voice thin. I'm not doing well. I didn't respond. I wanted her to feel the silence, wanted her to feel how it felt talking to someone who didn't care if she broke. She sniffed, and I could practically picture her wiping tears for dramatic effect. I made some mistakes, she said. That almost made me laugh. Some? Lady, you made a damn lifestyle out of it. But I stayed quiet and let her talk. Your sister left, she said. She won't speak to me. I blinked. My sister? Miss Goldenchild? Miss Mom could never be wrong? Miss, why are you always so dramatic? She left? That alone shook the ground under my feet. Your aunt won't help me, she continued. The family, they think I'm difficult. Difficult. That was one way to describe a human tornado who destroyed everything she touched. She took a shaky breath. I'm sick, she finally said. I can't keep living alone. I need someone. I need family. Ah, there it was. Family. A word she weaponized my whole life. I leaned back against the wall. You need me, I said flatly. Yes, she whispered. I need you. It didn't feel like a victory. It felt like standing on the ruins of a house she burned, with her sitting in the ashes asking for a glass of water. I didn't offer it. What are you sick with? I asked. She hesitated, too long. Just health problems. She was lying. She always lied, about everything. She'd rather choke on the truth than say it. So what do you want me to do? I asked. Come home, she whispered. Please. That word again. It still didn't sound right coming from her. I pictured walking back into that house, the walls still holding every scream, every insult, every moment I wished I wasn't born. No, I said simply. She gasped like I'd stabbed her. What do you mean no? There she was, the real her, the entitlement rising again. I almost smiled. You don't get to ask me for anything, I said. Not after the hell you put me through. She went quiet, too quiet. Then she snapped. I raised you, I fed you, I clothed you. You owe me. The same old lines, the same recycled script. I hung up. She called back. I blocked her. She called from another number. I blocked that too. For the next week, she tried everything. Crying voicemails, angry texts, guilt trips, even pretending she was dying. I ignored them all, because for once, she was the powerless one, and I wasn't going to hand back the keys. I thought that was the end of it. But life doesn't let narcissists disappear quietly. 2 months later, I got a call from my aunt, the only relative I tolerated. Her voice was soft. Honey, your mother was evicted. I sat down slowly. Evicted from where? Her house, she said. She hasn't been paying the property taxes. Not for years. She always acted so put together, so in control, so superior. But behind the scenes, she was slipping just like every abusive person eventually does. My aunt exhaled. She's been living in a church basement for the past week. She won't stop asking for you. I didn't know what to feel. Pity? Satisfaction? Anger? Nothing? All I felt was a strange emptiness, like this was a movie I'd already predicted the ending of. Narcissists don't age well. Their supply dries up. People get tired of the manipulation, their power shrinks, and eventually they're just alone. Exactly the fate they gave everyone else. My aunt asked me if I wanted to visit her. I said no. She didn't argue. She knew. She'd seen the scars up close. But after hanging up, I couldn't stop thinking about her. Not with sadness, not with sympathy, with clarity. All my life, she'd told me I couldn't survive without her. But here she was, homeless, unwanted, out of options. And here I was, living, breathing, succeeding without her. That was the revenge, not spite, not payback, not yelling in her face, no. The real revenge was becoming everything she said I couldn't be. But the story wasn't over. 3 weeks later, she found a way to contact me again, through my job. She called pretending to be a client, then asked the receptionist to connect her. I answered by accident, thinking it was work-related. I need you, she whispered again, voice cracked and brittle. Please, I have nowhere to go. She was crying, real crying, not performance, not manipulation. I knew the difference now, and hearing it didn't make me feel powerful. It made me feel tired. So tired of being the adult between us when she was supposed to be the parent. Please, she repeated. I'm scared. I closed my eyes. The kid in me, the one she broke, felt a tiny flicker of something. Not love, not forgiveness. More like closure. I'll meet you, I said finally, but I'm not coming home. She whispered okay like a prayer. We met at a small bench outside a library. When I saw her, I almost didn't recognize her. She looked older, smaller, like life had shrunk her down, her hair messy, clothes faded, eyes swollen. For a second, I felt a sting in my chest, a memory of the version of her I wanted as a kid but never got. She reached out to hug me, but I stepped back. She dropped her hand. I'm sorry, she said quickly, too quickly. I know I made mistakes. Stop, I said. Don't give me the short apology. Say what you're apologizing for. She froze. Narcissists don't know how to apologize, not really. They only know how to perform remorse, not feel it. She opened her mouth, closed it, tried again. I hurt you, she whispered. It wasn't enough, not even close, but it was a start. She sat down on the bench, legs trembling. I don't expect anything from you. I just needed to see you, to know you're okay. That surprised me. She never cared if I was okay, ever. I'm fine, I said. Better than fine. She nodded slowly. I can see that. And for the first time in my entire life, she sounded genuinely proud. Not proud of herself, proud of me. I didn't know how to handle that. Didn't know if I even believed it. Silence settled between us, heavy but healing. What are you going to do now? I finally asked. She shrugged weakly. I don't know. And that was the truth, the real truth, the truth she never let herself say. She was scared, lost, human. And that was her downfall, not by my hands, but by her own choices. I can help you find resources, I said carefully. Temporary housing, food programs, stuff like that. Her eyes watered again. You do that for me? For me, I said. So I know I did the right thing, so I don't carry your mistakes anymore. She nodded, looking down. I spent the next 2 hours helping her apply for programs, shelters, medical care, not as a son trying to fix his mother, as a man closing the chapter she opened. When we finished, she looked at me like she wanted to say something big, something motherly, something real, but nothing came out. She wasn't equipped for it, and I no longer needed it. I stood up. She didn't ask me to stay. She didn't grab my arm. She didn't guilt-trip me. She just whispered, "Thank you." I walked away feeling lighter, not because she apologized, not because she changed, but because I didn't need her to anymore. My story wasn't about destroying her. It was about freeing myself. And for the first time ever, I was free. I really thought it was over. I honestly, stupidly believed that leaving her on that bench with a list of shelters and a quiet thank you was the end of the war. I thought I had walked away with the moral high ground, the bigger person who helped his abuser just enough to sleep at night, but kept enough distance to stay safe. But that's the thing about narcissists. They don't view kindness as a bridge. They view it as a weakness. They view it as an open door. For 3 months, the silence was beautiful. I got promoted at work to a senior systems architect role. I started dating a girl named Alina who actually understood what boundaries meant. And my bank account was finally looking like all those sleepless nights of studying were worth it. I let my guard down. I stopped checking my blocked calls folder. I stopped looking over my shoulder when I walked to my car. I started living like a normal person. Then the cracks started showing. It began with something small, a letter in my mailbox. No return address, just my name, handwritten in ink that looked shaky. Inside was a birthday card. My birthday was 4 months away. I opened it, and a single sentence was scrawled on the inside. A mother's love never forgets, even when her child does. No signature, just that guilt-dripping sentence. I threw it in the trash, my heart hammering a little, but I told myself it was just her being weird. She was in a shelter, right? She was getting help. She was busy fixing her life. But 2 days later, I got a notification from LinkedIn. Someone had viewed my profile, a profile with no picture, named Justice for Mothers. I blocked it. Then came the emails to my work address. Not from her, from strangers. Random people sending me messages like, "You should be ashamed of yourself, and how can you let her live like that?" My stomach dropped. I felt that old familiar sensation, the feeling of the walls closing in, the feeling of being 14 years old and trapped in her kitchen while she screamed at me. I investigated. It didn't take long to find it. She hadn't just gone to the shelter and eaten soup. She had gone to the shelter, charmed the staff, played the weeping victim, and spun a narrative so twisted it made me look like a monster. She had started a public Facebook page documenting her journey from being a loving, sacrificing mother to being discarded like trash by her wealthy, heartless son. She didn't use my name at first, but she dropped enough breadcrumbs, my city, my job title, my university, that people figured it out. She posted photos of herself looking frail in the shelter cot, captioning them with things like, "I gave him my last dollar for his tuition, and now I sleep here." It was a lie. A bold, verifiable lie. But the internet doesn't care about truth. It cares about outrage. She had thousands of shares. comments from strangers calling me a narcissist, an abuser, an ungrateful brat. She had weaponized the very pity I felt for her. She used the smartphone I helped her get to destroy my reputation. I wanted to scream. I wanted to reply to every comment and post my bank statements, post the police reports from when I ran away, post the transcripts of her abusive texts. But I knew that's what she wanted. She wanted a fight. She wanted engagement, fuel. So I stayed silent, hoping it would blow over. It didn't. On a Tuesday morning, I walked into my office and saw my boss, David, waiting by my desk. He looked uncomfortable. "We need to talk," he said. In the conference room, he slid a piece of paper across the table. It was a legal letter, not a lawsuit, a demand letter from a pro bono lawyer she'd conned into helping her. She was claiming filial responsibility. In some states, if a parent is destitute and the child has means, the child can be forced to support them. She wasn't just asking for money. She was demanding a monthly stipend, back pay for the emotional distress of being evicted. And, this was the kicker, she wanted me to pay for a condo. For her. "The company has been getting calls," David said quietly. "People saying we employ an abuser of the elderly. It's bad PR, man." I felt the blood drain from my face. "It's all lies, David. She's sick. She's a narcissist." David sighed. "I believe you. I do. But this isn't about truth. It's about noise. You need to fix this, quietly, or we're going to have a problem." I walked out of that meeting shaking with a rage I hadn't felt in years. This wasn't just annoyance anymore. This was my livelihood. This was the life I built from scratch, the life she tried to strangle in the crib, and now she was trying to burn it down because she couldn't own it. I sat in my car in the parking garage, gripping the steering wheel until my knuckles turned white. I realized then that my mistake wasn't helping her. My mistake was thinking she was a person who could be helped. She wasn't a person. She was a parasite. And you don't negotiate with a parasite. You remove it. I needed intel. I needed to know exactly what she was doing and who was helping her. I couldn't ask her, obviously. So I did something I promised myself I'd never do. I called my sister, Vanessa. Vanessa was the golden child, the one Mom praised while she was tearing me apart. Vanessa stayed behind when I left. We hadn't spoken in 4 years. The phone rang 5 times. I almost hung up. Then, "Hello." Her voice sounded tired. Not smug, not happy, tired. "Vanessa, it's me." Silence, a long, heavy silence. "I wondered when you'd call," she whispered. "Did she find you?" "Yeah," I said. "She found me. She's trying to get me fired, Vanessa. She's suing me." Vanessa let out a dry, bitter laugh. "She's not suing you, idiot. She's bluffing. She doesn't have a case. She just wants you to panic." I paused. "How do you know?" "Because," Vanessa said, her voice cracking, "she did the same thing to me 6 months ago." My world tilted. "What? Why do you think I stopped talking to her?" Vanessa snapped, and suddenly the anger poured out of her. "You left, and I became the new target. The golden child stopped being golden the second she needed a punching bag. She drained my savings account, opened credit cards in my name, and when I tried to cut her off, she told her church group I was on drugs. I lost my fiancé because of her drama. I lost everything, just like you." I sat there stunned. I always hated Vanessa. I thought she was complicit. I thought she enjoyed watching me suffer, but she was just another victim in the queue. "She's at a Motel 6 on the east side now," Vanessa said. "She's not in a shelter anymore. She scammed some charity out of a voucher. She sits there all day on that iPad you probably bought her, looking for ways to hurt us." "I need to stop her," I said. "You can't," Vanessa said. "I tried. I tried restraining orders. I tried logic. I tried screaming. She feeds on it. The only way to win is to disappear." "I can't disappear," I said, looking at the gleaming glass building of my office. "I built this. I'm not running away again. Not this time." "Then what are you going to do?" Vanessa asked. "Kill her?" "No," I said, a cold plan starting to form in the back of my mind. A plan that wasn't about running and wasn't about debating. It was about exposing. I'm going to give her exactly what she wants. She wants an audience. She wants the world to know the story of our family. Fine, I'm going to give her the biggest spotlight she's ever had. "You're crazy," Vanessa said. "Maybe, but I'm done playing defense. If she wants to burn my house down, I'm going to make sure she's standing inside when the roof collapses." I hung up. I wasn't shaking anymore. The fear was gone, replaced by a cold, sharp clarity. My mother wanted a narrative. She wanted a story of a poor, victimized mother and a cruel son. She was controlling the information because she was the only one talking. I realized I had been hiding my trauma because I was ashamed of it. I was ashamed of where I came from, but shame is silence, and silence is where abusers hide. I drove home, opened my laptop, and started typing. Not a defense, not a rant, a receipt. I began compiling everything. The years of audio recordings I made as a teenager to prove to myself I wasn't crazy. The photos of the bruises. The scanned letters where she admitted to fraud. The bank statements showing her stealing from my childhood savings. I had it all. I had kept it in a digital folder named Nightmare, thinking I'd never open it again. Now it was ammunition. But I wasn't just going to dump it online. That's messy. I needed to trap her. I needed her to admit who she was publicly so that when I dropped the truth, there would be no doubt. I unblocked her number. I stared at it for a long minute. Then I sent a text. You win. Let's talk. Meet me at the diner on 4th Street tomorrow at noon. I'll bring the checkbook. It took her 30 seconds to reply. I knew you'd come to your senses. Don't be late. No apology. No, I love you. Just victory. She thought she had broken me again. She thought the money was coming. She thought she had won. But she didn't know that the diner on 4th Street was my turf. She didn't know that I had already hired a private investigator to sit in the booth behind us. She didn't know that I wasn't bringing a checkbook. I was bringing a wire. And she certainly didn't know that I had called Vanessa back and told her to meet me there too. The next morning, I dressed in my best suit. I looked like success. I looked like power. I walked into the diner, and there she was. She looked healthier than the photos she posted online. Her hair was done. She was wearing a new coat. She looked smug. She saw me and didn't even stand up. She just tapped the table, signaling me to sit. Took you long enough, she said. I sat down. Hello, mother. Don't hello me. Do you have the money? We need to discuss terms, I said calmly. Terms? She laughed, a harsh, grating sound. Here are the terms. You pay for my condo. You give me $2,000 a month allowance, and you apologize publicly for abandoning me. If you do that, I'll tell the lawyer to drop the case. If not, well, I have an interview with the local news next week. She blackmails me, openly, with a smile. Why do you hate me so much? I asked, keeping my voice steady. I don't hate you, she sneered. I own you. There's a difference. You think you're some big shot because you can code computers? I made you. I broke you in like a horse, and I can break you again. You're nothing. You're just a scared little boy playing dress-up. The waitress came over to pour coffee, and my mother's face instantly changed. She slumped her shoulders, looked down, and wiped a fake tear. Oh, thank you, sweetie, she told the waitress in a trembling voice. My son and I are just working through some hard times. The waitress gave me a dirty look and walked away. As soon as she was gone, my mother's face snapped back to stone. See, she whispered, I can turn the world against you in a heartbeat. Pay up. I reached into my pocket. She licked her lips, expecting a check. Instead, I pulled out my phone and set it on the table. Face up. Recording. I'm not paying you a dime, I said. Her eyes narrowed. Excuse me? I'm not paying you, and I'm not apologizing. I'm done. She slammed her hand on the table. Then I will ruin you. I will call your boss every day. I will camp outside your office. I will tell everyone you hit me. I will destroy every single thing you love until you come crawling back. Her voice was rising, attracting attention. Good. You admit it, I said. You admit you're doing this to hurt me. I'm doing it to teach you a lesson, she screamed. You are my property. The diner went silent. People were looking, and then the bell above the door chimed. My mother froze as she saw who walked in. Vanessa. And behind her, David, my boss. I had invited him. I told him if he wanted to see the truth, he should come to lunch. He stood there, looking at my mother, red-faced, screaming, slamming the table, and then looked at me, calm and collected. The mask had slipped. The audience she wanted was here, but they weren't seeing a victim. They were seeing the monster. My mother looked at Vanessa, then at David, then at me. Her eyes darted around like a trapped animal. This isn't what it looks like, she stammered, her voice pitching up into that fake sweet tone. He's upsetting me. Save it, Vanessa said, walking up to the table. We heard you from the parking lot. My mother looked at me with pure hatred. You set me up. No, I said, standing up. I just turned the lights on. I looked at David. Is this enough proof for HR? David nodded, looking disgusted. More than enough. I'll make a statement to the legal team today. If she contacts the company again, we'll file for harassment. I looked back at my mother. She was trembling, but not from sadness. From rage. Impotent rage. This isn't over, she hissed. You think you can embarrass me? I'm your mother. You were an egg donor, I said. And this isn't over, it's just starting. Because that interview with the news you mentioned, I think I'll take that slot. And I'm bringing Vanessa and the recordings. Her face went pale. You wouldn't. Watch me. I dropped a $20 bill on the table for the coffee she didn't drink. You wanted my success? You wanted my name? You got it. You're going to be famous, Mom, just not the way you thought. I walked out of that diner with Vanessa and David, leaving her sitting there, staring at the empty booth, realizing that the glass box she built for me was now closing around her. But as I walked to my car, I knew a narcissist doesn't stop when they're cornered. They explode. I had won the battle, but the final explosion was coming, and I had to be ready to survive the blast. The silence after the diner wasn't peaceful. It was heavy, like the air right before a tornado touches down. I knew my mother. I knew the cycle. Narcissists operate on a very specific script. Idealize, devalue, discard. But when the victim discards them, the script burns. They enter what psychologists call an extinction burst. It's a tantrum on a nuclear scale, a final, desperate attempt to regain control or destroy the thing they can't control. After David drove away and Vanessa and I stood in that parking lot, shaking not from fear but from adrenaline, we made a pact. No more secrets. No more letting her triangulate us against each other. We went to my apartment, opened a bottle of wine, and for the first time in 20 years, we compared notes. It was horrifying. The lies she told me about Vanessa. She thinks you're a loser. She doesn't want you at her wedding. And the lies she told Vanessa about me. He's on drugs. He stole money from my purse. Aligned perfectly to keep us separated. We realized that our hatred for each other had been manufactured by a woman who needed us isolated so she could rule. That night, we didn't just become siblings again. We became generals in the same army. We spent the next 3 days fortifying my life. We installed high-definition security cameras covering every inch of my apartment complex's hallway and my door. We alerted my building management. We filed a preemptive report with the local police just to have a paper trail stating that we feared retaliation. We were ready, but you're never really ready for the insanity of a parent who feels entitled to your soul. It started on a Thursday. I was at work, deep in code, when my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I let it go to voicemail, then another, then a text from a neighbor. Hey, is your mom okay? She's outside the building screaming. My stomach dropped. I pulled up the security camera feed on my phone. There she was, standing at the glass doors of my apartment lobby, banging on them with her fists. She wasn't wearing the nice coat from the diner. She was wearing old, ragged clothes, a costume for her performance. She was screaming at the doorman, sobbing, pointing up at my floor. I turned the audio on. My son is in there. He's holding my medication. He's trying to kill me. Please let me in. It was a masterclass in manipulation. Passers-by were stopping, looking concerned. A woman stopped to comfort her. My mother collapsed into the woman's arms, wailing about how I was an abusive monster who locked his elderly mother out. I felt a cold rage settle in my chest. She was trying to swat me. She was trying to get the police to kick down my door so she could slip in during the chaos. I didn't run home. I didn't panic. I called the non-emergency line. My estranged mother is trespassing and causing a disturbance at my residence, I said calmly. I have a restraining order pending. She is known to make false reports. Then I called the doorman. Do not let her in. Police are on the way. I watched the screen. The police arrived within 10 minutes. I watched my mother switch masks instantly. The screaming banshee vanished. The frail, confused old lady appeared. She clutched her chest. She pointed at the building. The officers looked sympathetic. They were buying it. One of them looked up at the camera. I realized I couldn't handle this remotely. I left work and drove home, my heart pounding against my ribs. When I pulled up, she was sitting on the curb, drinking water a cop had given her. When she saw my car, her eyes lit up. Not with love, with triumph. She thought she had summoned me. She thought, see, I scream and you come running. I got out of the car, keeping my distance. Vanessa was already there. She worked closer than I did, standing by the lobby doors, arms crossed. Is this the son? The officer asked, stepping toward me. Sir, your mother says you have her heart medication inside. My mother has never been inside my apartment, I said loud enough for the crowd to hear. She lives in a motel on the east side. She is here to harass me because I refused to give her money 3 days ago. My mother let out a gasp. Liar! He's a liar! He stole my pills. Officer, I said, pulling out my phone. I have video of our meeting 3 days ago where she threatened to destroy my reputation if I didn't pay her. I also have the camera footage from the last hour showing her trying to break into the building. The officer paused. The narrative was shifting. Ma'am, the officer turned to her. Did you live here? I stay here sometimes, she stammered. He's my son. Do you have a key? The officer asked. He changed the locks, she screamed, because he's cruel. The officer looked at me. I shook my head. She has never lived here. Check her ID. It lists the old house she was evicted from. The officer asked for her ID. She froze. She didn't want to show it. I lost it, she muttered. The officer's sympathy evaporated. He saw the game. Ma'am, you need to leave. If you come back, we'll arrest you for trespassing. My mother looked at the cop, then at me. Her face contorted. The mask fell off completely. She lunged. It happened in slow motion. She didn't lunge at me. She lunged at my car. She pulled a set of keys from her pocket and raked them down the side of my Tesla, screaming a guttural animal sound. The screech of metal on metal was piercing. The officers tackled her, physically tackled her. Get off me, she shrieked, kicking and spitting. It's my car. I paid for his life. I own him. They cuffed her face down on the pavement. I stood there, watching the woman who had terrified me for 20 years being hoisted up by her elbows, spitting venom. She looked at me, eyes wild, and screamed, I wish I had aborted you. You're dead to me. You hear me? Dead. The neighbors were filming. The doorman was watching. Vanessa walked over and stood next to me, her hand gripping my shoulder. It's over, Mom, Vanessa said quietly. My mother thrashed as they shoved her into the back of the squad car. As the car drove away, the silence returned. But this time it wasn't heavy. It was clean. I pressed charges. I pressed every charge available. Vandalism, trespassing, harassment, attempted assault. I didn't just sign the papers. I requested the maximum protective order the state allowed. But the legal system is slow and public opinion is fast. The video of her arrest, filmed by a neighbor, hit TikTok that night. By morning, it had 2 million views. The caption was, Crazy Karen attacks son's Tesla and gets arrested. The internet did its thing. People found her Justice for Mothers page. They compared the sweet, victimized posts with the video of her screaming that she wished she had aborted me. The comments turned instantly. This woman is a monster. I have a mom like this. Run, bro. The mask slip is real. She was getting the attention she always wanted, but it was the wrong kind. She was being exposed on a global scale. A week later, I had to go to court for the restraining order hearing. I walked in with a lawyer. She walked in with a public defender who looked exhausted. She looked small in the courtroom, wearing an oversized sweater, trying to play the pity card again. But the judge had seen the video. The judge had seen the police report. The judge listened to the audio recording from the diner where she admitted to extortion. When it was her turn to speak, she tried to cry. I just love my son, she sobbed. I just wanted to see him. I was emotional. The judge wasn't having it. Ma'am, you keyed a vehicle and assaulted a police officer. That is not affection. That is violence. The gavel banged, 5-year restraining order. If she came within 500 feet of me, my home, or my workplace, she would go straight to jail. No warnings. She looked at me across the courtroom as the bailiff led her out. There was no rage left in her eyes, just a hollow, terrifying emptiness. She realized finally that I wasn't a source of supply anymore. I was a wall, and she had broken herself, throwing her body against me. I walked out of the courthouse into the bright afternoon sun. Vanessa was waiting for me. We didn't say much. We went to lunch. We talked about the future. For the first time, the conversation wasn't about surviving her. It was about what came next. But the universe has a funny way of balancing the scales. 2 months later, I got a letter. Not from her. From the hospital. She had collapsed in the motel. Stress-induced stroke. She was alive, but she couldn't speak. She was paralyzed on her right side. The hospital social worker was contacting me as next of kin. She has nowhere to go, the social worker said over the phone. She needs long-term care. Since she has no assets, the state will place her in a facility, but we need a family member to sign off on the transfer. I held the phone, looking out my apartment window at the city skyline. I remembered the nights I spent locked in my room, hungry because she was punishing me. I remembered the UCLA letter ripped into confetti. I remembered the text, "I need you." I remembered the keys scratching the paint of the car I bought with my own freedom. "Is she conscious?" I asked. "Yes," the social worker said. "She's awake. She's agitated. She keeps writing your name on the notepad." Of course she was. Even without a voice, she was trying to summon me. She wanted me to come to the hospital. She wanted me to see her suffering. She wanted to hook me back in with guilt, to make me her caretaker, to trap me in a room with her where she could feed off my pity for the rest of her life. It was the ultimate trap, the sick, bedridden mother. Who could walk away from that? Me. "I am not her emergency contact," I said clearly. "I have a restraining order against Lorraine Carter. I have no relationship with this woman. Do not contact me again." "But sir," the social worker stammered, "she's your mother. She's all alone." "She chose to be alone," I said. "Do what the state requires. I am not involved." I hung up. I blocked the hospital's number. I didn't feel guilty. I felt light. I sat on my couch and opened my laptop. I had a trip to book. Vanessa and I were going to Italy. We were going to drink wine and see art and eat pasta and not talk about Lorraine Carter. But there was one last thing to do. I logged into the Justice for Mothers Facebook page she had created. I had guessed the password weeks ago. It was my birthday. Typical. I didn't delete the page. That would be hiding. Instead, I made one final post. I uploaded the full audio of the diner conversation, the extortion, the cruelty, the real her, and I captioned it, "The truth is a slow poison, but it always kills the lie eventually. Rest in peace, Mom. You're still alive, but the mother I deserved died a long time ago." I hit post. Then I changed the password to something random, closed the laptop, and walked out the door. I didn't look back. There was nothing behind me but ashes, and in front of me, the rest of my life.